Hi, I'm Denise Ruitt. I'm the CEO of the Media Workshop, which is a media training and production company. We focus on training in film and television, and we also produce content for television and for online audiences. And we've created some stuff for the big screen. I'm also the festival director of Labuti Bay Festival. And I'm going to speak about the linkages between the tourism industry and the creative industry, but specifically with a focus on the audiovisual industry. Now, the two, in my opinion, and as experience shows, are inextricably linked. If you just think about America, why do we all know about America? We all know America's culture. We know about cities in America that we've never been to. New York. We know about the fashions. Many people speak with an American accent. Why do we do this? It's because America's in our lounges, it's on our screens, it's in our movies. We feel like we belong in America. We sleepless in Seattle. Never been to Seattle, but we know about Seattle. We feel like we're part of it. These things, Sleepless in Seattle, for example, people know about Seattle. The next time they go on a holiday, they think, oh, where can I go? Oh, maybe Seattle. They feel like it's a place they know. It's a place they belong to. And this is the power of the audiovisual industry in creating a platform for your country, making the world aware of what you have. Now, in South Africa, foreigners looking at South Africa, what do they know? They know Cape Town, they know Johannesburg, they might know a bit of Durban. Do they know Port Elizabeth? Not really. They might know about the cars, but why don't they know about
important question that you have to ask yourself is that when a person leaves, let's take an example, a point of origin, be it Gauteng to the province of Eastern Cape, Nelson Mandela Bay, is it really about staying in a B&B or is it about staying in a hotel? The answer is absolutely no, because where you come from, you've got a comfortable place that you stay. So tourism is about an experience. Now, to a large extent, when you look at the number of experiences that keep visitors to travel, to spend more time and to spend more money in a particular destination is creative industry, and yes. Creative in the form of, be it arts, be it entertainment, music that is being performed by local artists. That's what keeps visitors staying longer in a particular destination. So hence, most of the time when you're talking tourism and its development, its packaging, it's centered around the creative industry. So you cannot separate the two. When I'm a tourism practitioner, I have to play a key role towards the development of the creative industry, because in return, it serves the industry. And when I'm going to market the destination, I'm going to use the creative industry as that niche or as that service that I can make my destination unique.
Ms. Dennis, can you take us through the film and its contribution to the tourism sector?
Are you still with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. We are in Dennis now. Yes.
Can you hear me? I was just okay. I'm Denise. I'm the CEO of the Media Workshop, but I'm also the festival director of Labuti Biofilm Festival. But the film industry for me is at the moment, well, in the past few decades, the most important way that we can promote our region as a destination, because the film industry creates content that puts an area on the screens of people around the world. And when they see that area, it creates a curiosity and an interest in the area for them to come and visit the area. So when I say the film industry, I mean, it's so vast that it ranges from traveling programs, magazine programs, to drama and feature films. But people often think that the film industry is only beneficial to the tourism industry if you make travel programs and show people what's in an area. And I would beg to differ. And I would say the film industry, if you look at creating great content in an area and people see that area, it creates an interest in them coming to see the area. So, for example, I use things like, even in television, I love watching, I don't know if you do, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago, what is the other one? Chicago Fire. These are excellent television series, all based in Chicago. Now, those series, the content is about the firefighters fighting fires. We could produce that sort of content here, but it's put the name Chicago in the heads of people around the world, and they see Chicago, and it creates an interest in going to visit Chicago, just for example. So, and people these days watch television, online content, they watch video, Lord of the Rings. I mean, if you look at tourism, film tourism is a massive thing in the world, where if you look at Lord of the Rings, people go to New Zealand now to see where the film was shot. If you look at, I've got people helping me in the background, James Bond. I mean, they're all these places in the world. I think Downton Abbey, I don't know, these are from my frame of reference. I watch these beautiful things. You see a beautiful castle, people go and visit the castle where it was filmed. Harry Potter, the movies. So you create these things and people come to see the places where it was filmed. So the film industry has a massive role to play in tourism in the Eastern Cape.
Okay. Now let's go to Mr. Olwam Mnwazi. Can you take us through your perspective within the play of the creative within the tourism sector?
Thank you very much, Mzee. I'm not sure if you are not intended to, or your video is just not working. I'm not sure. So I thought
okay, no.
Make a point of that. But thank you for the invitation to discuss, pertinent issues in the Nelson Mandela Bay, and one of which is the creative industry and tourism. If you look at the basis of tourism, excuse me, if you look at the basis of tourism strategic documents as far back as 2005, the ones that I could actually look at, 2014, the strategic, the pilot in 2017, you'll see that whenever we talk about tourism, we are basically talking about, the kindness of people, or the character and attributes of the local people. And that the sector itself is based on foreign nationals or non-nationals coming to a particular region to explore and experience that particular region, whether it is artifacts, whether it is, the cultural activities of that region, or the economy and all of those things, maybe if they come through business and things like that. So now when you think of tourism like that, you can't overlook the importance of the people of the city in that regard. You can't overlook the importance of artists, musicians, poets, you can't painters and other people that can contribute to that cultural capital of the region. And therefore, if you then are strong in those area where your people are able to be marketed and shown all over the globe, then the whole world will basically want to come in and see, like it is the case with Paris, like it is the case with New York and all of that, because we relate to those places in relation to their economies, their artifacts, the Eiffel Towers, and all the other cultural things, the city that does not sleep. What are these people doing in the city that does not sleep? And in the case of Nelson Mandela, when you trace our vision, what the Nelson Mandela Bay tourism has been trying to do is to place Nelson Mandela Bay as the city where freedom and democracy began, or the city of freedom and democracy, I suppose. So yes. Am I running out of time? Sorry.
Now, yes, you're running out of time. But now we're gonna go to PDA is contributing into the creative industry in the Nelson Mandela Bay, and you can see that is evidently. Can you take us more, or tell us more about what other revenues that the creatives look at when it comes to the tourism and creativity?
Hello everyone, my name is Oyama Vanto. I'm a project manager at the MBDA. Right, I think a lot of what I was going to say has been covered about the three key important skills. I think for me, we don't have to pull all the way back, and just perhaps I look at the approach used by the MBDA in its development. MBDA is about, I think for the most part, we are about placemaking, right? So in the definition of placemaking, you cannot separate that from cultures in society, right? And where there is a link between tourism and the creative industries in relation to tourism, I think it now lies into the fact that a lot of our cultures as our societies is embedded in the creative sector. So if you want to know more about a certain time, a certain period, you then have to go through the books of that period, in the music of that period, the films made in that period. So for me, I always look at the creative industries as a place where you can go to find culture, to find heritage. And that is an advantage for those who are working in the creative sector. However, creative industries is always seen at the back end. It hasn't been fully placed into the mainstream of thinking. We sit in this platform and we preach the importance and the significance of the creative sector, but on the other side, not much has been done. You now look at the impact of COVID-19 in the creative sector, and you tell me what has Nelson Mandela Bay as a city done for the creative sector, recognizing the impact thereof in tourism, etc., etc. So for me, creative industries is the cornerstone of who we are as the people. If you want to know about who we are, you look at our walls and our murals. I know that I'm going over on a different topic, sister. That I get very excited about this one. So if I'm zooming into Nelson Mandela Bay, and I look at the infrastructure of the city, right? I talked about MBDA being involved more into placemaking. and I look at the city and what the city says about me, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's a deep-rooted history of people that were moved away from the city. There are tourists that come to the city,
Yes.
and the tourists would come to look for a story of a place. There's always a great motive behind of any visitor who's coming. So for me, I'm always
Yes.
interested in the kind of story that people will then come and see. And is that a true reflection of the city and the people that reside in the city? And the straight answer for me is always no. If I walk down in the Government Avenue in Somerset, I can't find traces of myself there. And every time we raise this kind of conversation, that even in tourism, the people that come and pay money to come see the sites in the Duncan and Campanile and all of there's a deep-rooted history and relationship that I have as a Black citizen in the city with those monuments. There's a deep-rooted story there. And up until even tourism fixes itself and addresses those kind of things so that I find myself in my own city. Because currently how it is now, I cannot find myself in my own city. The infrastructure is very colonial. The monuments are very big and strong and representing they evoke a certain feeling in me that is not home.
Okay.
So
Yes, I have to stop you there now, Oyama.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go to Mr. Mpo Epepane. Mr. Mpo, can you tell us on the tourism side now, what are the plans or ideal plans that the tourism have in order to fuel this spirit of creativity within the tourism industry?
Can you hear me, Mr. Facilitator?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I did not unmute.
Hear the question.
Look.
Okay.
Yeah. I hear the question. Look, I think you know what is important. From our perspective as a municipality, is the fact that you have so many initiatives, that were in the pipeline or were at infancy stage, things that were attempted in the past or things that maybe are not at a level of a quality that you will say it's ready for consumption or you can take it to the global stage for the purpose of promotion. But I think, our approach is to say we've got a lot of heritage facilities that we wanted to package. But, we were even saying now we are in the stage of, COVID affected us immensely as the destination, all destination for that matter around the world. But our approach as part of recovery process, we are saying, let's revisit our facilities and make sure that we do the basic right. When a tourist come to a particular facility, sometimes a facility is not about a big infrastructure or a big building, but it's about a facility that is clean, a facility that is accessible, a facility where you will get people who man that facility trained and ready to orientate and to serve our visitors. We're saying that's an important phase as part of recovery post-COVID. And that's the work that we are busy undertaking. So you've got a lot of, if for example, I can identify, you go to the township economy, you've got the likes of Mloteni facilities, which is a heritage facility, which you've got so many visitors that are interested to visit, but they will immediately tell you that the area is not safe. They will immediately tell you that you go around the facility, it's littered all over, those kind of things. So those are immediate things that they don't require huge financial resources. Cleanliness is something that is within us. It's something that we have to really work together as a unit. and therefore activate those facilities, because you can have a facility, but we need to make sure that we activate so that the facility can be able to attract and retain visitors to spend more time and money.
Yes. Okay. Oyama, you're raising your hands. You wanted to come in.
Yes, Madam.
Okay.
I think I need to emphasize, if I get anything out of this conversation, I need to emphasize this point. And for me, it's very important that I raise it. When we talk tourism, we spoke of people who are traveling from a place to a place, are driven by a desire to try to find out more about a place and the people, right?
Mm.
And a lot more times, there's so much emphasis we spend on building things, right?
Yes.
Up until a point, for me, I feel, up until a point where we build things that are too reflective of the entire society as a whole, right?
Mm.
That's the only condition I'll build anything new. We don't have to build anything new. For example, the tourism sector suffered a great deal of loss in the COVID-19 period. That I understand, right?
Mm.
Other cities pushed ahead and recognized the significant importance of creative industries, creative and cultural industries, right? And
Yes.
supported those initiatives because they fully understand the significance.
Yes.
In the absence of people traveling, there's filmmakers, there's musicians, there's visual artists, and we did none of that stuff.
Yes.
Our clear obsession of building new things and building facilities sometimes can be very misplaced. Sometimes we forget what we actually have. And I think for me, as a project manager, you begin with the assets of the people. You begin with the asset that you have in your community first. And what I still feel we have as the asset in the city, we have a vibrant creative industry that is not supported. That's the point. And I think if they're given a platform to play, especially in tourism, given film, given musicians, giving them a platform to engage and support, not be in the dire situations we find ourselves in.
Okay. Okay. Dennis. Yes. What is your take in terms of what should the municipality or as the entire community of the Nelson Mandela we should do in order to make sure that these two fields, tourism and creativity, comes together and work together and get support? Dennis, I can't hear you. You are on mute. Dennis.
Zomato, you should be able to unmute the mic for her from where you stand.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to. She's on mode. Dennis is on mode. Okay. Okay. We're gonna come back to her. She's still on mode. But Olwam, your take.
I think as Oyama has been saying that the value of tourism starts with the people of the city, so we would tend not to understand or to see or to support or to know, activities that don't start with, the people of the city, because these are the people that need to actually stand on top of off the roof and actually profess how good this city is, and therefore the world will come to want to see how good this city is. From my perspective, I looked at tourism from a strategic vision point of view. The city wants to be, this kind of a city, a well-run city, opportunity city, safe city, inclusive city. Sort of want to trace how now the tourism department is plugging into that, because I know that the MPDA is plugging into that using, its own ways. I now know that the city wants to place itself as a birthplace of freedom. I'm not sure if that has changed, and that the vision is that it places the city as a the birthplace of freedom and celebrate for its intimate urban tourism, offering renowned, all the other things that they're professing. So now we would like to follow what kind of projects that have been done in order to advance that vision, because every city in the world is known by at least one thing that they are good at. And our city, for the lack of knowledge, Mr. Pebane, for the lack of understanding of your programs, for the lack probably of visibility. The only thing that I remember of tourism, it was when they brought down expensive artists to come and sort of look around. We don't know, we saw that, and you know what, we want to celebrate and we can't celebrate that because we do not know. We ran a program, we're still running it for the past 5 years, Fruits of Democracy. And this program had partnered with tourism the first 3 years, but each and every one of those years, we only found out, we would find out a week before, or a few days before the event, of the support, which our support we thought was not reflective of the vision that tourism wanted to take, because one of their strategic objectives was to engage actively with Nelson Mandela Bay's tourism business, and also to engage local citizens and make them proud, ambassadors of the Nelson Mandela and Nelson Mandela Bay. And we thought we had placed our programs in that sort of, railway, so that we can also add on what is happening in the city. But every time you just don't get the sense that we are, directed, and we have a very, supportive tourism department in the Bay. I might speak out of not knowing, because I've never met Mr. Mpo Bebane before, but I've interacted with some of his staff members.
Okay, Mpo, we are on you now. I see that Dennis has left, probably maybe some reasons. Let us wrap up now. I'm gonna start with you, Mpo. You've got 1 minute 30 seconds. Yes.
What I wanted to share is not necessarily responses, but I heard the frustration, for example, from Oyama, and it's so I'm so glad that Oyama is actually one of the obviously government public servant, who also knows the frustrations, who knows the institutional arrangements, who understands, for example, the issues. Maybe he's privy to a number of issues and challenges that the institution is experiencing. But what I want to share with you, let me maybe put it this way, and you guys, especially if you are in the creative sector, you will be aware that in the institution, Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, we have got 2 directorates. There's a directorate that is purely mandated for SREC, Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture. And remember, when you invited me, I also proposed that, can you invite someone from that? But you said you will have another session with them. It will be unfortunate to have another session where they are absent.
Yes.
Look, I want to quickly come to the point of saying, let me just draw you a picture, for example, from the tourism side. We understand that all the sectors are really affected due to COVID-19. But in terms of the tourism product owners, I want to share with you that today we're giving them a feedback that we were able to support them to the value of 5 million rands, you know, as Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, you know. So what we would have expected is that from SREC's point of view, and also all the associations around the creative industry, they need to come with a program to say, let's engage that directorate. That directorate has to play a role in terms of supporting, you know, the people in the creative industry, you know. So it's unfortunate that we don't even have that representative, which I proposed, you know, initially before you invited me, so that you can get feedback from yeah, and also National gave us a feedback. For example, I was also analyzing Nelson Mandela Bay tourism businesses that they've managed to secure funding from the 200 million that was made available by the National Department of Tourism, and a number of them through the facilitation and the support that we could play.
Okay, Mr. Van Doo, what are the future plans of the MBDA in regards of the tourism sector and the creativity?
To be short, brief, and precise, straight to the point, recognition, MBDA does recognize the importance and significance of culture, heritage, and the arts. And so in our development or in our approach, that forms a center point. Case in point, the program we are doing in New Brighton now, all infrastructure programs will then be spin-offs from the engagements we're going to have in addressing what are the human needs. So we start from the tail end first. We don't build things and then figure out what we do next. We start from what is the significant story of New Brighton in terms of culture, in politics, and sport. So we begin in that platform. And then anything we build or not build, there's enough facility in the space or not build, this culture of building things is ridiculous. So we start from what are the assets in the location itself, and then we build from there. So for us as MBDA, we are clear. We are absolutely clear in terms of how our approach is. Culture, arts, heritage, creative industries, that is in the center and in the DNA of the approach of the MBDA when it comes to that development.
Okay. Olwam, the advice to the creatives as from this point to go forward.
It's not really an advice. It's not really an advice. Probably it's just a wish, you know, and hopefully, you know, it might factor somewhere. You know, Nelson Mandela Bay contributes the biggest chunk of the GDP in the Eastern Cape. Something between 35 to 40%, depending on the year. And I think in 2005 it was 40%, and 2017, 18 it's like 36%. So it's around a third, over a third of the GDP in the province. So if we fail, if we can't you know, optimize and work with each other here, if the effect thereof, the failure, would be actually felt in you know, in the deepest part in Transkei, you know, in Ibisho, in budget and everything. And tourism is one of the three strategic areas in the province that it needs to actually sort of capitalize on. And then secondly, maybe lastly, because of time issues, is that I don't see an industry like tourism and that doesn't function well with the creative and cultural industry, especially knowing that in Nelson Mandela Bay we have even South African Cultural Observatory. So any form of intervention can be informed by research that comes from that institution, and any form of support can actually emanate from the people that are here. We have such a great talent, and Oyama has a list of them. It's just that we keep on missing one another, and I would really want to see a time where I also become, privy to some information about what is happening in the tourism industry, not just the BNPs, and we know the ownership of the BNPs and that prime property. but the story of the people of Nelson Mandela Bay. Arts and Culture did this book, and we have not really done much about that book as well, where we actually started the story of liberation or the story of, of democracy from Nelson Mandela Bay, and also the garden route starting. And this thing should be known by the people who should, the taxi rank guys, taxi drivers should know this is our thinking. Someone who sells next to the road should know this is our thinking about our future, our vision. Unless we're only planning for like the next 2 years, 3 years, and I don't think we're going to go very far in that way.
Okay, Dennis, I see that you are back. Okay, now can you give us maybe a way forward that you think is going to be the best way for the creative industry and the tourism to work together?
Okay, sorry guys, my laptop froze up and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to get in, firstly, I wanted to respond to Oyama when he said he can't see himself in the city. And everyone's been talking about stories. And for me, television's about stories. And my background's a television news reporter. And we have wonderful stories in the Eastern Cape and in Nelson Mandela Bay specifically, to be told, and some very horrific stories. And that I know about and reported on as a journalist, and other people that go back further. And all of these stories will allow people like Oyama to see themselves in, and it will also generate tourism. And for example, I covered the Goniwe inquest. Matthew Goniwe, he was killed right outside Port Elizabeth. It's a massive story. The whole story of Matthew Goniwe. I drive past, Blue Water Bay. I drive past Blue Water Bay. I think Matthew Goniwe. There's nothing that tells anybody else driving past that spot, this is where this horrific incident happened, and this is the story that was told. There are reams of video footage from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission where people actually testified about that. But you need to join the dots, create a place, get the audio visuals, tell the story. Steve Biko was tortured down in a block of flats next to the highway. The place where he was tortured should be a memorial to him. We should hear Steve Biko's story. There should be poems about it, pictures about it, audio visuals about it. Create a place where we tell the story